So let's go ahead and run it. So what we were saying earlier is that this is a graphic that we really like, that really inspired and drove how we approach the equity statement. Sorry, do I read it again? Okay. Equality is leaving the door open for anyone who has a needs to approach it. Equity is ensuring there is a pathway to that door for those who need it. Next slide, please.
So usually resources are put at the end, and we chose to put it at the beginning. So everyone would have a chance to see what we reviewed and read, sometimes pretty carefully, in order to winnow down a statement and to get ourselves into the mindset and to see what else is out there in the state and in the nation.
And there were a lot more that were provided, but I think what we did is we narrowed down on the ones that really spoke to, we kind of worked out from. So, I don't recall this is the initial.
This was, we actually envisioned the statement including all of this content that you're about to see. But one of the slides is titled Equity Statement. But we envision that all of this is part of the equity statement. So I'll go ahead and read it. The arts have a unique power to inspire, amplify diverse experiences, build empathy, celebrate, help us imagine other possible worlds, catalyze transformation, bring people together, and connect us with one another. So there's a typo. Can you go to the next slide?
The Central County Arts and Culture Commission recognizes the role that experiment, racism, power, privilege, and inequitable access to decision-making bodies and resources that historically impacted the lives of its residents, including artists, creators, and cultural.
Next slide, please.
Sure.
A full and vibrant creative life is essential to the well-being of all residents. Therefore, the San Diego County Arts and Culture Commission has a responsibility to engage in the urgent, essential, and nuanced work of building a more just world for us all through racial and social equity.
The commission is committed to fostering a context where all artists, creators, and cultural workers have freedom, equal access to decision-making bodies, resources, and platforms to share their stories. The commission can be an important resource to support the voices, visions, lives, and dreams of the community of rock. As such, the commission strives to implement equity outcomes in an ongoing process that addresses historical and current barriers to current barriers to art and cultural resources, including but not limited to equitable representation in decision-making bodies, funding, community outreach, organizational support, and intersectional awareness.
Next slide. I think that's the end. So that's what we came up with from the resources. The resources were what the first one posted was an amazing how-to. So you could say the words, and then that resource document gives you ways to walk the talk. It was really impressive. I think we might have gotten that from Mika. And I loved it. It was a lot of material. If you have time to read through some of it, it's really worth it. So any comments, feedback?
Could we go back to the statement to look at it? Yeah.
The whole statement. The whole
The
thing
one
was
that's
supposed to
big.
be the statement, not just that last slide.
Right.
Okay, sure,
Yeah.
go back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, there, I saw some
First
like
time.
typos.
Yeah, well, it always happens on the
Yeah.
graph. So I guess my first question is, do we view this as our guiding light? And or is it also for the communities we serve? Or is it both?
Both. And it's part of our strategic plan.
Yes. So this one is very powerful, going to the next part of the equity statement.
I'm
Good.
sorry, this one is very powerful. What?
It's a very powerful statement.
And it's missing us, the word
Yeah.
us.
The first line, the arts have a unique power. Would it be the unique power?
Yeah, yeah, I
So-
agree.
So perhaps correct that.
Yeah,
Do we have the ability to edit at this point?
Yeah, she just.
she's actually
Oh.
been editing it.
Okay. Help us imagine.
And I like all the action verbs in this.
Yeah,
Inspire, amplify, imagine, build empathy. The action of it is very important, I think.
I think we've been leaning into the idea that when we say arts, we either imply culture or we always say it out loud, we say both words. I think we should decide in this statement if we want to continue to say both. And say arts and culture have, or consider it implied.
I think I am out in the world now a little bit more, and I am noticing people correcting me to say arts and culture out in the world. So I think we should say arts and culture.
So that would be.
That would be my recommendation. In my brain, it's a big umbrella, the arts, but we are the Arts and Culture Commission, so thank you.
Might as well say it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So the arts and culture
Has.
has.
Arts and culture as a one
Oh,
unit,
it's 1 year.
Arts and culture.
or I
So
think
we
we
get
go
rid,
either
so we
way.
get rid of that,
we could get rid of the.
the first.
Arts and culture.
And these would either go
It should
have
be
or
arts and culture
have,
have.
Yeah.
because it's two things.
Yeah.
Right. It's so
That's
funny. I was
right.
thinking about the same thing on the way down. We gotta get culture back in. Okay, cool.
And then there was something catalyze the transformation.
Sure, yeah, but it was,
And connect us with one another. I think you already put it in. Thank you.
So you could say promote celebration,
Yeah, celebrate on its own. Seems,
content,
yeah, not descriptive.
art and culture.
Oh,
Promote
promote,
celebration,
celebrate. Okay.
or inspire celebration, or
Oh, yeah.
incite celebration.
So what you would say there is to promote celebration.
Inspire.
I don't think it
No.
necessarily would have the two, because we're not
You don't-
keeping
you
it.
don't-
to inspire, amplify,
It's not-
promote.
You could just say
Celebration.
promote celebration.
Promotes.
Promote celebration.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another good action word.
And you don't even have to say help us, you can say
Help
help
it.
imagine
Yeah, get rid of us.
other possible worlds.
It's quite a long sentence.
It is fun. It's trying to fit in a lot of ideas.
I request that we have the officer come up.
Yeah, after connecting.
I'm sorry, what?
Together.
Together.
Saying that before the and, we have another comma.
After the word together, like one on one.
Are we gonna get in the comment debate?
There's no debate. There's no social media.
Debate in some people.
What's that called? The Oxford comma?
Yes.
I'm a supporter of the Oxford comma, so I say put it in. What do people want to do? What did your debate happen with the rest of the strategic plan document?
I don't know. Whatever. And so can I just, for my own mind, this was intended to sit in the strategic plan above the goals, above the values, correct?
Practically, yeah.
So it's gonna be kind of the opening and then this.
That's everything.
Okay. I'm just trying to,
Is it just the statement or all four? Or
It's all the slides.
Yeah, it's a little
Now, some
almost,
slides might not need, they might be too repetitive. So as we go through all the slides, we can decide, is that too much? We intentionally kept it under 500 words. We actually were mindful. I think we came in at about 350. And it still might be too long.
It's usually longer than a paragraph, and what I like about putting it at the top, it reminds us that. Once again, all the decisions that we contemplate, we look through this lens, it reminds
Yeah,
us of
exactly.
that. And, it's gonna become important later on, most grants require it, so as
Yes.
a practical matter, it's for that, but.
Yes.
I think as we look through it for decisions, it reminds us to. To consider that every time we go back and look at our rules and bylaws and what our goals are.
I absolutely agree. And I think it's not a slog to ask people to read 350 words. It is not a slog. This doesn't say enough. It just starts a conversation,
That's right.
but you need all of the statement about why does this matter and what we're gonna do with it.
Well, I love all the statements, so I'm with you, but if some of you think it's too long, I'm like.
I mean, what's the
Okay.
point of having a statement or a commitment unless you explain why it's important and what you're gonna do with it?
That's right.
Right? Okay. All right. Let's go
Are we
on.
ready for the next slide?
Mhm.
Okay. Oops. Take it away, Monica.
Well, I think here, like the part that I was personally, having a problem with, coming up with maybe like the right wording for, but I thought was really important to have, was the access to decision-making body. Or, a lot of, equity statements talk about access to resources or, all these types of things, but never about that inclusion piece. The inclusion piece is usually thought about giving access to resources, but not about actually having access at the table where those decisions are being made.
Absolutely.
So that I thought was very important to somehow have in the equity statement, but I wasn't sure this was the best wording for that.
I've never seen this called out so clearly and concretely, but I absolutely love it. And you and I know that that's really where policy is made. And that's where this table gets set. By the time the money is doled out, it's already,
It's already decided.
it's already decided who
Right.
gets and
Who gets and who does not.
Mhm.
That is exactly right.
Because we're mid-draft stage, I believe when were first discussing this equity statement, Charlene suggested that we expand from just racial equity to include, just
Other forms,
other, all
right?
equitable practices.
And we took that to heart.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
you'll see, there's farther on, well, you see. The art, you'll see that.
Throughout this document, we refer to your commission or our full title. Should we simplify to one or the other?
This is the first time we say our name.
Right.
So that therefore, thereafter, we say commission.
Okay.
I believe.
That works.
Okay.
And do you want to comment after creators?
Yes. Yeah, I do, but.
May I ask an additional question? So I
Well,
love
wait,
this.
do we want to comma after creative?
That's fine.
Okay,
Being consistent.
oh, I didn't see it,
Yes,
sorry.
so, including artists, creatives, and cultural workers, should we say something about those who are the audiences for those lovely things? In other words, I think audiences have been disenfranchised as much as artists, creatives, and cultural workers. So I don't know whether we want to be that explicit or whether we can assume.
We say residents,
Yeah, that, I get that.
is that-
Just a thought.
I think that was the intent with resident, but again, like if there's better wording for it.
I think it's okay.
I think residents implies to me audiences. I don't know if we want to switch that word out with audiences.
It's like saying the public.
It's like the public.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the first time we bring up the term cultural workers that I can recall.
Actually, somebody did bring it up, and I'm trying to think, it was Lucas. Brought it up as something he would like to see in the equity statement, and. And he gave some examples of what he was talking about.
We also use in our work cultural practitioners. These are people who make art happen. They're curators.
Right.
They're people who do engagement work. They may not actually produce work themselves, but they make it happen. So I
That
think
was a,
cultural practitioners is another word that we're using right now.
That's good.
But we can go back to workers,
I
which
think
would be.
we have to share.
I think that word might have, it maybe came from you or Lucas or both of
Okay.
you, because we thought, wait a second, somebody said that, and it encapsulated what,
Yeah, what I
the
just said.
gist of what we were talking about.
Okay.
I think that's strong.
What's up?
Okay.
Or we can shorten the commission,
We
right?
just said
Therefore, the commission, yeah.
And this is part of what I was struggling to, and I wanted to bring to the table is, do we call it a racial equity statement, or do we call it a racial and social equity statement?
Well, I was just struggling with social equity. I thought we were kind of in the cultural equity world.
Okay.
Because this is the first time you said social equity, and I wasn't sure what social equity was.
Well, actually, I think that's probably,
And if we do that, then we go back up to the title and call it a racial and cultural equity statement.
that was. what you were going to do.
Mhm. And make that last statement through racial and cultural.
And I think the intent with that is addressing all forms of
Engagement.
engagement
Yeah.
and equity.
Right. I mean, because you have people who work in the traditional arts, right?
What? The reason I keep getting corrected, I think, about culture is because they're out in the world, is people, they follow it up with a reminder that performers are artists, so they're thinking, in my brain, that is the arts. But if they don't hear cultural, they think the performing arts are being rendered less visible. And I don't want to do that.
Hmm.
I don't want to render them less visible, so I'm good with cultural.
I think what, in the larger world, if you say art, people always think you're a painter.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
So
Yes.
that's the first, education we have to do in our community, to think of art writ large, of
Right.
all forms of creativity,
Right,
right?
that's right.
But going deeper, we have to be inclusive of all types of cultural practice,
Mhm.
basket weavers,
Bird singers.
bird singers,
Mhm.
tattooists,
It's
All-
all, that's everything.
all of the
Yeah.
full spectrum of
Mhm.
making,
Mhm.
and include them in who we want to help and protect and preserve. Okay.
So is everybody on board with changing it to racial and cultural equity? And then we make the
The
title
title.
of the statement, racial and cultural equity statement.
I think that covers a lot of
Everybody good
ground.
with that? Okay.
And you know what I like about you, Nancy, is your,
No, I don't. Go ahead and tell me.
is that you embrace learning and you evolve. And I think if we could all to embrace learning and this evolution, of as we become more nuanced in our understanding of what this all means,
Mhm.
that we agree to go back to our statement and maybe tighten it up,
Mhm.
language.
Mhm.
We don't have to be, this is not bound in concrete,
Mhm.
because we may find better ways of saying this as we move
We
along.
very well may.
So I like how you say, well, this is what I'm learning.
Yeah. Is this a new slide, right?
No, this is.
Oh, so can we go to the next slide? Okay.
When you change that practitioner, bring consistency,
Are you talking about creatives?
culture workers.
Okay.
Did you want to remove the word equal since we're not talking about equality? And say, and
Just-
just,
Or
or access period?
Yeah, just access.
Mhm.
Oh, it says At the, of the community, I think it should be at large. Or, so in that first sentence, the commission can be an important resource to support the voices, visions, lives, and dreams of the community at large, or we could say, and dreams of the larger community. I think we meant to do that, and we just kind of forgot.
I think there's supposed to be a comment for bodies as in equitable representation, decision-making bodies, separate idea of funding, separate idea of
Yeah.
reach.
Wait, where, I'm sorry.
In the second paragraph, after bodies before funding. Thank you.
Oh,
It's good to have somebody actively in school to read this.
You think-
Sentence, the context. Is that,
That's the best word.
yeah,
that was.
is it an environment? Is it?
Mhm. I know what you're trying to get at, that. A practice,
I think we were trying to get at an environment, actually.
Could be an environment,
And,
you know, it's okay. All right.
is it a culture?
Yeah, I was
Sometimes you
thinking,
think about the culture that we live in, you know. A culture where all artists, creators, and, well, we use the culture a lot, but
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Environment then might be better.
Yeah, because we're using cultural practitioners.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Ecosystem?
That's the new world.
A world?
go with that.
Oh.
I'm good with that.
come on, sing with us, sing with us. So many opportunities.
I have a feeling that there's a backstory from the overall strategic plan.
They're wishing the microphone wasn't.
Don't dream too big, people. We're world. Go all in.
Universe.
Fostering a world.
This, on the second paragraph, second line, do we need to say at large? Is community sufficient, or do you feel it needs more description?
I don't think it needs that much. If we try to get it back down, I don't think you need.
So, and dreams of the community.
Plus, we already are fostering a world.
Yeah. Now we're back to community.
Okay.
So it would be arts, fourth line down, second paragraph, be to arts and culture resources.
Oh, yeah, plural, yeah.
Well, it's more, yeah.
And if you wanted to be, really spare with that language, we don't need envoy, do we? Isn't process
Be
always
paid
our
process.
yeah,
It,
Yeah,
could
it's
this
kind of
sentence
redundant.
become, could this one long sentence become two? Well, no, it does break down, but it's just that, it's so long that it feels like it's,
I was just trying to be, consistent.
that's such a commission's, I think.
Oh, no, that's I think between decision and making a
So
decision.
that could be a theory.
Can you talk a little about,
Including.
These resources are
I
included,
got
but not limited to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. Can you talk louder so we can?
Oh, I told, it was a really, simple one, but another hyphen between decision and.
That you were telling to Zhang? I got it.
So, second paragraph, fifth line down, after resources, the idea is we could put a period there, complete that sentence, and then we could launch into the final sentence. Resources period. These are included but not limited to.
Just to kind of give us a breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's quite a lengthy sentence. So these,
These are, these include, but are not limited to.
Yeah.
Representation and decision making bodies. Funding community outreach organizations.
I mean, that covers a lot of what we can affect, and there's no point in us saying we can do more than what we have the power to do, right?
One of the things I like about that closing paragraph that was, to me, said walk the talk, was that we are gonna strive to implement equity outcomes.
Oh,
We're not just yakety yakking, we are going to, and one of the documents that we were referencing really emphasized. It's not enough, yeah, accountability and having it be measurable, and it's not enough to just say you're gonna do it, you gotta do it.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Well, we know that, but I also know organizations that are saying they're doing it and they're not,
Yeah.
so you know how it goes.
I just had a question in that, what is the second sentence? As such, the commission strives to implement equity outcomes in a process that addresses or in processes
Processes.
that
Okay,
address.
yes, processes.
Because we're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be doing multiple things
I like
and we're gonna have
that's good.
multiple processes.
That.
Yeah,
Address.
address. And then this might just be my syntax preference, but to me, it makes more sense to say current and historical barriers rather than historical and current barriers.
Yeah. It's
It-
easier
It,
on
it's,
the brain.
it's easier on my brain. I don't know if that
Yeah.
makes
That's good.
anybody else.
Yeah.
Since we're trying to make it easy for people to read. So they all read it multiple times.
It'll be easier when the county's invested in the AI software. You always correct.
Yeah.
They will also sound like robots. Right?
It's gonna think for us.
So what's our next step? Do we have this action opportunity here? Would anyone like to move that we accept this for inclusion in the strategic plan?
Can we vote on discussion items?
Yeah, so discussion items allows you to talk about it and then you can make a motion or not
Okay.
if you want.
Got it.
And you may end up deciding no motions needed depending on the item.
Well, it is a draft document, so it does seem like we should.
Or can it be discussed and leave it to the final adoption of our strategic plan writ large? And
Yes.
just do the whole thing.
Yeah, I would like to,
Yes,
I,
so either way is fine, yeah.
I would also like to look at, can we go back just quickly and read the whole thing as one statement?
Would
Um,
it be helpful if I opened up another document and put it all on one page?
Yeah, that would be for me.
Okay.
Just to
Give me
make
one
sure,
second.
'cause there's. Like on this page, you know, we say decision-making bodies twice, and I think we said it on each of the other slides, so. Just making sure we're not being too
I
redundant.
always like to run Grammarly against my writing when I'm finished.
Oh, that's good.
Grammarly finds little things and helps you trim stuff down. It can be a bit of a Nazi sometime about certain issues, but you know what I mean? But it can be helpful.
Okay, just give me 1 minute to copy everything.
Thank you both for all the work you put into this.
Yes.
I know that was a lot of reading and research,
Yes.
carving out little pieces there, man.
I think we were kind of happy with it.
Yeah.
We had good, you know, brains. I
And you
don't know what that word
Policies
is.
to have to worry about for me,
That was
right?
true. That was a big,
Committee of two, that's my favorite.
yeah, that made things a lot easier. And faster. The long
I love committees of one.
Yeah.
Your favorite.
You have some AI stuff to help you, like that Grammarly thing and a
Grammarly.
thesaurus over
That's my
here.
committee, me and
There you go.
Is that legible for everyone? I don't have my glasses. for-
It's like a spell check.
It's like a real life.
To the left,
Oh, you
it'll-
looked up
it'll-
here,
it's
too.
not-
Run on sentences.
Yeah.
And
So you have
if you
premium.
change tenses, which I can.
I'm sorry.
It said and stuff too, so
Yeah.
you have premium. I'm using the free version, so I don't get the style
Oh, the
suggestions.
good style too. It'll say, you're being too rude. Great tone, you settle down with your tone. Oh my
Goodness, that is.
Does it really say?
That?
so?
It doesn't say it like that, but it does
I was
say,
like, wow.
"Can you be friendlier?" I mean, we'll tell you.
Yeah, nice.
I have no idea.
Goodness,
Make it
don't
happen.
hurt my feelings.
Would anybody like to read this out loud? Okay.
Arts and culture have the unique power to inspire, amplify diverse experiences, build empathy, promote celebration, help imagine other possible worlds, catalyze transformation, bring people together, and connect us with one another. The San Diego County Arts and Culture Commission recognizes the roles that systemic racism, power, privilege, and inequitable access to decision-making bodies and resources have historically impacted the lives of its residents, including artists, creatives, and cultural practitioners. A full and vibrant creative life is essential to the well-being of all residents. Therefore, the Commission has a responsibility to engage in the urgent, essential, and nuanced work of building a more just world for us all through racial and cultural equity. The Commission is committed to fostering a world where all artists, creatives, and cultural practitioners have freedom, access to decision-making bodies, resources, and platforms to share their stories. The Commission can be an important resource to support the voices, visions, lives, and dreams of the community. As such, the Commission strives to implement equity outcomes and processes that address current and historical barriers to arts and culture resources. These include, but are not limited to, equitable representation in decision-making bodies, funding, community outreach, organizational support, and intersectional awareness.
I like everything except the first paragraph is really just to the descriptors.
I'm sorry, on the third paragraph, would it be okay to get rid of all? If it's just, a more just work for us?
I'm with you. I was struggling for us all. I just wondered,
For all, just for all.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
either one of
it's
those words.
us.
can go. Yes,
It's just feeling.
redundant.
I get that.
Okay, and then,
Yeah, wait, so there's too much in the first paragraph.
it's just within,
Inspire, amplify, build empathy, promote celebration.
it's just too many. Can we narrow it down to like 3 big impactful things or something like that?
I would remove promote celebration. It doesn't seem to be.
Bring people together and connect to one another is pretty, they're basically saying the same things.
I think so.
So those can maybe be either one or the other or some kind. Maybe bring people together and connect us instead of. Bring us together,
Connect
bring people
communities.
together, connect people with something.
Connect people.
So get rid of and connect us with one another.
Bringing people together
Is enough, period.
So,
And bring people together.
and go way down.
Yeah, almost kind of the same as promote
Starting
celebration.
better.
How do you guys feel about the whole notion of belonging? We've had a lot of conversations about belonging and the role that plays in community. Is that belonging, is that more important than celebration?
Yeah, celebration just feels like it jumps out at you.
I mean-
Those things all seem so important.
I mean,
Not that it
if
isn't, but
we swapped out promote, celebration with belonging, would that be a better impactful word?
I agree with you that right now the notion of belonging is amplified because of all the research on how alone people feel and the intergenerational harm
Mhm.
that is done by feeling alone. And so perhaps we could say promote belonging in quote marks or something, because it is a term of art now for community building and psychological well-being. So I would support a belongingness in there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, you can see what's happening in our society overall. The people who feel on the outside are not well.
That's right.
Very true, you're hitting something important there.
So promote,
I was just saying that we would lose celebration and swap in belonging.
Yeah, promote belonging.
For the two drafters feel about that.
Good,
Yeah.
I like belonging.
Is there
Well, the
more?
thing, we, as we're going along and we update some of this, you know, maybe belonging won't be the term. But right now, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is, so.
Is there a more concise way to say help imagine
I knew
other
you were gonna
possible
say that.
worlds? It feels a little clunky to me.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, I know what you're trying, you know, it's about,
It's because, it's really about being able to relate to other.
Getting rid of the help.
Well, no, I
As other perspectives.
like that because that's, when you read a book like To Kill a Mockingbird or something like that, and all of a sudden you get to walk in another person's shoes and think about other worlds. And that's exactly what you
But
did.
if you
Yeah, I
took
definitely
would
wanna keep
imagine other
the-
possible worlds stand alone, okay?
Yeah, I definitely. wanna
Open
keep the
new
imagine
possibilities.
other possible world.
Create new possibilities, I don't know.
Imagine
Bring new
other
opportunities.
possible worlds
Michael,
that
what was your
would,
phrase? Empathize with other perspectives.
It means the
That's
last
still quite a
one.
few words.
Well, we have built in.
Imagine other worlds.
Yeah, that, there's that specific kind of
Well, if we
language
could
is grounded
potentially
in some
remove
reading.
field empathy.
Hold on a second. We're having one discussion here and one here. Let's have the discussion here and then we'll have the discussion here, okay? Go.
Also, I was just saying that I feel strongly about keeping the terms, imagining other possible worlds. Because it is grounded in stuff like these, readings and teachings. And so there's a lot, like it carries a lot of weight. And yeah, so I don't have to say about that.
Okay, and then who was having a discussion here?
Well, we were both sort of thinking about removing build empathy and in place of imagine other possible worlds, empathize with other perspectives, and that would help make the statement more concise. But if there's a strong feeling of keeping imagine other possible worlds, I'm not opposed to that.
I actually have a strong desire to keep that also.
Okay.
To keep what?
Other possible worlds.
Oh.
I think it helps. I didn't really know this, but I think it is a lifesaver to some people to be able to imagine other possible worlds. It keeps them from going nuts. I'm a big science fiction person and
Oh, is that what you mean, those kind of possible?
no,
worlds?
they, science fiction writers think Octavia Butler, think
Yes.
Samuel Delaney, they imagine worlds like where there's equity. They're not just techno stories, their cultural
Right.
imagination is very powerful and can change us, you know, the readers.
I like it better without saying help imagine.
Yeah.
We think it reads smoother.
I was just thinking of someone to imagine a family being other than two kids and a mom and a dad.
Yeah, well, there's that
You
too.
know, that just, could we possibly think of
There's that
something
too. Yeah.
other than what you have?
Yeah.
Right.
We gotta promote belonging, do we need to bring people together?
Belonging is different from just being together. You can be all in a room and feel incredibly not included, not invited. you're alone, even though you're in the room with 1,000 people. But when you belong, you're not only invited, you're connected, you're invested, and you're asked to participate. You don't even need to be asked. You know, you're a cousin. So,
And I think
Mhm.
so many times groups are invited who don't feel like
they
they're
never
really
feel like they're a cousin,
part of it. They're
Mhm.
just there,
it's there.
but they're not really.
So you can be together but not belong.
Good point.
But that's a
That's a
good
great
good
question.
question.
To go back to what you guys brought in the concept of perspectives. Which in the first, where it says amplified diverse experiences. Could that say amplified diverse perspectives? Because experiences,
Mhm.
Mhm.
All of that.
you know, they,
A viewpoint.
A viewpoint.
Kind of thing.
yeah. And then that brings in the perspective point that you guys were making.
It's moving to a slightly different portion of the statement. When I was reading it out loud, I felt that the fourth sort of stanza was redundant between the third and fifth, that the ideas in the third and fifth sort of encapsulate what is being said in the fourth.
Decision-making bodies, so you say decision-making bodies twice.
Well, and in that, specifically in that fourth paragraph. Where it says that, you know, we're fostering a world where artists, these people have freedom. And then access to decision-making bodies is so specific compared to freedom. That it almost seems like we should, if we keep that, we should say something about. You know, they have freedom, power, resources and platforms. Because that's really the world that we're picturing. You know, I mean, when I picture a world, you know, what is the world gonna be? I'm not thinking about decision-making bodies. You know, I'm thinking, so I don't know, that's what,
Who has control of it?
yeah, so that's what I'm thinking, power maybe in that particular, if we keep it that way. That was my suggestion, is maybe,
Oh,
Reads well.
so you're moving past access to, you're saying that they have agency, they have their own, they have power.
I mean, we're fostering, we're envisioning a world in this sentence.
They're empowered to do whatever the heck they need
I
to
think
do.
that's very.
Yeah.
This one's well.
You know, that's really good.
Good job.
Thanks.
Um, if we're on the first paragraph and bring people together, are we thinking like, what if we want an alternative? Do we want to unite people?
It is stronger than bringing people together.
I was wondering about the term ally. Would this be a place where the commission is,
An ally with others?
and we're promoting alliances among creatives, artists, among the artistic community? It's kind of like bringing people together with a purpose
If we can.
Arts and culture have the unique power
and fostering allies, alliances.
Where did you want to see that?
instead of bring people together.
It's a little more, it's a specific form of bringing people together.
And build alliances? Yeah, you build.
Oh,
yeah,
what's the verb?
And fostering, encouraging. Yeah,
Alliances?
Well, now we're talking about arts and culture. So I could see where the commission as an agency might have the ability to foster alliances, but arts and culture doesn't always. It's not real tooly like that.
okay.
Well, and
It kind of happens, but it doesn't really get to. We're gonna build a coalition, you know, it's not.
I was thinking more cross-disciplinary kinds of efforts between artists and different regional communities.
It feels agency, that alliance sounds like an
Mhm.
agency action.
But I liked your word unite,
I do
because
too.
that's a little bit stronger than just, you know, we're not just putting people in a room together, we're actually. There's actually more to what's
Yeah.
happening.
Mhm.
I mean, we are putting them in a room together, but for a purpose.
Satellite transportation,
And unite.
and, well, you can't,
Unite people.
that doesn't sound as nice as bring people together, to be honest.
Unite.
It's not as friendly.
It's not as friendly.
Yeah, you're.
Oh, we're-
Your little grammar.
Be more friendly.
But I understand, when you say bring people together, it's almost like. Because to do arts and culture, you have to be together.
Yeah.
Is that what we're trying to imply, or we want something broader than that?
Well, because arts and culture, it's not a unique power to bring people together. There's all sorts of things that bring people
Anything-
together.
Yeah, gathers.
I was actually thinking of having that first statement read, and catalyze transformation, period. And lose the and bring people together, and then what was it that you said, Jennifer?
Oh, something around allyship and alliances.
Okay, but not in
Unite.
that opening sentence. I was thinking that maybe could go down a paragraph or two.
And
if
I'm
we
not,
Want it.
yeah, I'm not insisting on that. It was just a thought that one of the things I hope that comes out of this is a tapestry
Right.
of arts organizations and different districts uniting, so.
Bring district people together.
I do kind of like it ending with catalyzed transformation.
Yeah.
That-
What's the transformation? Is it?
It's
That's the
just
only thing, well,
transformation.
transformation to something good, to something bad. I mean,
We could say-
transformation has no.
We put in positive-
I don't want to use the word gender,
positive
but
change.
it
You could
has
say
no,
positive
Oh, yeah,
transformation.
right.
Or, positive change and catalyze
Positive outcome?
change.
doesn't, I'm just saying catalyze
Beneficial
transformation doesn't
outcome.
mean positive or negative.
It doesn't.
But we could say positive.
I'm
Positive
that's what I'm just
transfer-
saying,
Yeah, but
For-
sometimes unique.
yeah, catalyze positive transfer or something. I'm just saying we might want to consider that.
And
Like,
if you want to get real simple, you just say catalyze positive change. We don't do
Oh, that's
transformation,
good.
because transformation is too much in
Yeah.
your mouth.
In your mouth.
You've got the Grammarly, you're listening, you have some kind of listening device on the other side we can't see.
I mean,
Again, right there.
there's so much to it that if we lessen it,
Yeah.
for those statements, it.
Yeah,
for our
just
benefit,
period.
Because quite honestly, when you present that many ideas, the sentence
It
doesn't,
doesn't have power.
it doesn't stay with you.
So we're gonna lose and bring people together for now?
Yeah,
But it feels like it's still too long.
Okay.
okay,
So let's lose and bring people together.
that's for the sake of simplicity.
That's all.
And I'm gonna motion that we add this to our strategic plan for now, not as a final statement, but as it is for now.
As a draft.
As a draft,
Let's marinate on it.
Yeah, and
Thank you,
move
Bob.
forward, so we need a second. Unless we want to.
Second.
Okay,
All in,
Bob,
it's a,
Bob moves it,
Mhm.
Alicia seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for editing as we talked.
My pleasure.
Zhang, that really makes sense for faster. Okay, strategic planning. When it says discussion items, I just need a legal reminder. Do we need to call for public
Yes.
comment between each item? Okay. So is there any public comment about strategic planning?
No hands are raised. Oh, wait, yes, there is. Sorry.
Okay,
Patricia.
Patricia
Tell us,
Frischer.
give me big.
Sorry, give me a second, Patricia. Okay,
My comment today is part of the strategic plan is listening and also making yourself known. And I would like to remind you all that the Arts and Economic Prosperity Report launch is on January the 25th from 10 to 12:30 at the Museum of Photographic Arts. And it would be terrific if many of you could show up. Obviously, Felicia is involved in this already, but this would give you a chance to actually listen to the report and the statistics and the stories of a county-wide effort to gain information about the economic position of the arts in the county of San Diego. So I hope to see you all there. It would give you an opportunity not only to listen, but to be seen, which I think is very important. Thank you.
Repeat the date and time, please.
Yes, it's January the 25th. That's Thursday. From 10 a.m., 10 to 10:30 is coffee and networking. And then it starts properly at 10:30 and goes to 12:30. Randy Cohen is the keynote speaker coming in from the East Coast to talk about nationwide results, and then there'll be presentations and even a video shown of the local results. It should be a very exciting opportunity, and I hope that maybe Felicia can pass on the invitation to all of you and that you'll spread the word among your constituents to be there.
Thank you very much.
It's gonna be the Museum of Photographic Arts.
Will that
10 to
information
12.
be posted online afterwards? I won't be able to make it in person, but I would love to read it.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I think it'll be videotaped.
Thank you.
Okay. So do you have everything you need for the minutes saying, or do you want me to repeat what I wrote down?
Oh, no, we're
You're
good.
good to go?
Yes.
Okay, any other comments about strategic planning? Any other public comments?
No, there.
Okay, does anybody want to speak to this agenda item today?
So Bob and I will go together, the strategic subcommittee continue to meet. We last met as a committee in December, right before the holidays. And did some very good work on the goals. And as you all know, we're making our way through the various elements of the strategic plans, and the goals section of the plan is a very important section, because it really outlines the pillars upon which most of our work will be achieved. Once we have those goals set, we can begin to outline strategically, what we're going to do once we complete the plan. Today, we want to share with you the work that we did and get your feedback. Because we may not have blown those goals out as well as we could. So we would like to see is that if we hit the mark, did we have that document ready to share?
To give you a little background, what we went through was, we first looked at the original documents that the supervisors put together on what they wanted us to accomplish, to put those in the goals. So they weren't just things that we came up with. These were things that they basically required us to accomplish. So we put those in there first. And then we came up with other ideas. And then since we couldn't all be in that room together, we wanted to get your input also before we started, coming up with a final list. Keep in mind, we're really looking at the first 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
And we have to keep in mind, we don't have some huge budget, really, we have no budget. And, we just, we're limited to what we can achieve, but, and right now, nobody knows who we even are. I'm probably outside this room for the most part. So those were some of the things we took into account, so.
And so we try to think of these buckets of activities, and if you look at them, if you can imagine if we were sharing this with our constituents right now, they could see, okay, here's this body of people, what do you do? Well, basically, a lot of our work evolves around gathering basic research, basic information, like this Arts and Economic Prosperity Study, okay? We do that. We gathered knowledge and information and we shared with the community. So that's one big bucket. One other big bucket of things that we do, we focus on building visibility for the organization ourselves.
What
And-
does LAA mean?
Local arts agencies. Local
So
arts,
that's a term.
that is a term,
Thank you.
that is a term, and we can talk about that.
Okay, thank you.
Building visibility for this agency ourselves. And for promoting awareness of arts and culture in general. Okay, so we're always having our foot on the gas in terms of promoting arts and culture. And then engagement in community building. Getting out there in the community, what Bob said is true for the next 12 to 18 months. It's really just about meeting with the community and letting them know we exist. So engagement and community building is another big bucket of activities. Communication and information sharing, different from basic research, by the way. Research and knowledge building is gathering in data, but sending it back out, communication and sharing information is another one. Websites and things like that, convenings, and then capacity building. That is where we're trying to figure out, where's the money? How can we locate whatever resources there are out in the community and get them out to artists and arts and cultural organizations? I think those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buckets. Is it 5 buckets?
Yeah.
5 pillars.
Yeah.
And so, we'll go back up to the top and Bob, you can help me with this, because I got this stuff, you know.
Right, yeah, part
These-
of these ones, that I recall, I know, for instance, I can't recall each one, but like research inequities, that was one of the ones that the supervisors had, required of us, they wanted us to look. And part of these are just things that we've already started doing,
Yeah,
but things that we just need to know. We don't, this, basic research and knowledge building, most of us we don't know everything about the county right now. Some of this stuff's already happened, the staff's already looking at what, pieces of art, the county has. We don't know that right now. But that's, they've already started building a list of that. So these are, but the research that you guys just did, that's really part of what we're, all this is part of what we're doing. And we need to do that. What, we're learning about the commission that you're sitting, or the, I don't know what it, not, is that committee, what is it that you sit on?
the
Is that
public
right?
art community.
Yeah,
Public art.
so we're researching what these possibilities for us, what is our job supposed to entail? So that's part of what these, the research part of pillar.
Database of, who's on first, getting our ecosystem, clear. About what is our world?
Learning who the other organizations are. I think in our values, one was partnering and working with other organizations. Well, who are they?
Who are they?
So, we know the big ones like SD-RAC, but a lot of the cities now in the county have started getting their own little arts and culture groups. So we want to know who they are so we can start working. So that's what those are all based on. And we think that's something that we should and have been tasked to do, some of them by the county supervisors. The building awareness is, so I don't know if there's anything specific that you guys want to add to that, but that's kind of, let's stay there for just a second. But that's kind of what we came up with for basic research and knowledge building. If there's something specific you want to add under one of those, that's fine. We don't have to add anything specific right now, but if there's something outside of that you don't think we caught. But that's the research and knowledge building that we.
So each of those bullets is kind of like a strategy or tactic that would have to be implemented in partnership with staff. Obviously, we can't do a lot of those things.
I just thought of one we could add, because I'm not sure everybody has done it yet, but it would be our training. That would be there. I don't know if everybody's been through that training so far that we were required to do.
No,
So that should probably be there.
Yeah.
Knowledge building, so,
Yeah,
No, I meant the first one.
yeah, so some of us have it, some have. That'd be one thing that we should all be accomplishing in our first 18 months. What we'll do with this list later is the committee will go back and create timelines for all these things, but we want to build it.
and you might wonder, like, why is it important for us to be designated as a local arts agency? It has meaning when it comes to money.
Yeah, no, that's what my question was
Yeah,
about.
like, why is that
Is
important?
that
Singular.
A trigger.
a trigger?
Yeah.
That has to do with applying for grants
It
and
is.
all of that.
It is.
So, yeah.
That's why, that's why that's it.
Some of the money that goes to the city now could be directed directly to the county instead of
Yeah.
the city. Not that we're fighting with them, but it's
Right.
just, how it works.
I think under knowledge building.
Hang on one second, can you, just so they get past, so
I know-
we couldn't hear back there, go ahead.
Okay, under knowledge building, maybe that's where it goes. Is researching monies that are available to us as a local arts agency that we haven't been able to go after because we weren't a local arts agency.
that
I'm
the
especially thinking
I
of
fall
national.
down.
We have that under capacity building,
Oh, okay.
Thank you, that's a good one, though.
Thank you.
That's a good one.
I'm especially thinking the feds got money.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm not, I've done some of this research, so when I say there's money that's going, that's just not getting allocated, I know that that is true. So I'm not saying look to the feds because they got all the big bank. I'm thinking, look to the National Endowment for the Arts, because we might actually either the county or county facilities or county organizations might qualify if they knew how to go after it.
Yeah, we understand.
Okay, sorry.
We do.
If we're thinking about federal funding resources, though,
Mhm.
that's probably gonna be we're gonna have to relearn what's available. I mean,
Every
right
year.
now, every few months,
Every
definitely
year.
every 4 years, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And it's long-term.
Mhm.
Sometimes they have a provision that you have to be in operation
That's
for
right.
several years before you can even qualify, but
But that's part of the strategic plan,
yes,
is that we're in operation for that period of time, so we can be.
that's.
So the next category, building visibility and awareness, some of it's simple, but it's really important because right now, as I mentioned, a lot of people don't know that we're back as an organization. I go to so many presentations, and every time they'll announce all the people from the city Arts Commission, and I'm sitting there right up in the front, and I'm just waiting for it, and they know who I am. And
It goes right over.
never do they mention,
Yes.
Bob Lehman from the county, still doesn't happen. And I know they know who I am, but it's, and not that I need my name called, relax, I'm not, I'm old enough now that it doesn't matter to me, but it does matter to the commission
Yes.
and the county that it's not being said.
Yeah.
So it's because it just doesn't register with them yet.
We haven't landed with them yet.
Right, so, and for the people that we represent, that's important because if it doesn't register with those people, then it doesn't represent with anybody,
So
so.
they're arts leaders.
Right,
Right.
so we need to get that out there. The strategic planning announcement that, for these pillars and all this that we're working on is an important part of that. And we'll talk more about that process later, but we want to do that hopefully in April. That's why we're trying to move this through. And part of that, that's in there. And then we want to try to get in front of the Board of Supervisors at least twice a year, hopefully.
Yeah.
So they remember us.
Mhm.
Because when it comes time for you to be reappointed, if you want to be, you want to, hopefully they know who you are.
Mhm.
Because if not, somebody else is gonna come up to them at one of their meetings and say, hey, I'd like to be on that committee. And they'll just say, oh, sure. And when your name comes, I don't know who that is. So, unless you're out, meeting with them, I know some of you do, because I've seen you at different county events, but if you're not, they'll forget who you are because they meet a lot of people. So we want to get in front of them. And then I think we mentioned something as simple as having name tags. So when you do go to an event, it says that and who you are, which is important. So it just makes it easier for people when you meet them to recognize you. So that's something that we mentioned to saying, but and I think we had talked a little bit about, we want to look in April when we try to do our strategic plan announcement. We'll get in more details later, that we want to definitely meet that month in front of one of those meetings with the because it's also, what do you call that month?
Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month is April, so we were thinking about having our coming out party in April
Maybe-
and having a proclamation.
Maybe towards the end of the month, that
Towards the
way,
end.
if we go towards the end of the month, that gives us one more time to meet that month, so we almost squeeze out an extra free month.
There you go.
And maybe we can get a proclamation from them about that month for the county too. So that would be good. But this is just start, it's not a big deal that they don't know who we are yet. Because we're not ready. We don't want to
Mhm.
pull back the sheet and there's actually, you know, go, and the rabbit's gone and it's still sitting there. You know, so we may not be ready. You know, we want to have some of this stuff so we really shine, but you know, we just need to start thinking about it. That's what a strategic plan is about.
I'll take this bunch.
Go ahead.
So the next, pillar, engaging community and community building, many strategies, but the four that we talked about were having joint meetings with the city arts commissions. And those are those other localized agencies. We have Coronado, we have Encinitas, we have Halstead, Sarito, and all of those, so that they can get to know us and potentially moving around the county, so others can get to know us. And that's holding at least one commission meeting in every district, so that's four of them, sorry, five, that's right. Back in the day, when the City Arts Commission was just getting started, we held these things called swap meets, and it was a little play on words. The idea was to get together, swap business cards and meet new people. And, you know, somebody brought some junk to sell because they thought literally we meant a swap meet. They do it this way. But we were thinking of bringing back the swap meets, whether we use that name or not. But these are these networking opportunities, perhaps when we're in district, we could have our commission meeting and then have a swap meet after a networking event.
Mixer.
A mixer, that's all it is. That's all it is, right after, wherever we happen to be.
And move the meeting around.
And move the
To the
meeting around to
districts.
the districts.
So
Exactly.
when you were, was bullet point number 2 also a way of implementing bullet point number 1? Or are we
not
talking about two
not-
different
Two
meetings?
different things
Two
possibly.
different things, okay.
Yeah, and because of Brown Act and all that kind of stuff, I don't know how to make that happen.
Oh, that's a good
The
point.
joint meetings with the city arts commissions
That's a
It
really
could
good
be
point.
a totally different thing.
Might have to get
Yeah.
a special meeting.
It may have to be a
Or
special.
maybe we can send reps to their meetings,
Yeah.
like a couple of us could go to their meetings
And
and just
speak.
talk.
There are provisions allowing for joint
Okay,
meetings, so that like there would be a way to do that.
okay,
Good.
good.
Well, I think this special.
What's that?
A special makes sense because we all have work to do, but this is just for us to know each other.
Yeah.
That's why we have David.
That's what, he'll make it happen. The microphone. And individual artist outreach, I'm not sure how we can make that work, but I, you know, inviting an artist to a meeting sometime and having time on our agenda to have an artist present to us and tell us what they're doing in their community. This keeps us connected. So it's in reach and outreach at the same time. Communication and sharing of information. I think one of the biggest roles for our organization is communication, just letting people know what we know and getting information out about the latest laws, regulations, policies that are coming out that impact organizations and individuals.
And grants.
And
opportunities.
grants. You know, here's a regulation that's coming out that affects your life. Let me help you help. And even if we do it in conjunction with SB-RAC or someone else, but we should always be sharing information. County convenings, like helping people, the community get out. We should be the ones, if no one knows anything, they should be able to go to our website and find out the most basic information. And that means getting our website to be a little bit more robust than it is. And having a really strong, e-newsletter that goes out on a regular basis. And social media, right? Okay. And then finally, the part that we are almost in love with is money. Where's the money? How can we move from just an information and research and talking about the topic to an entity that can access new money? Where can we get public-private partnerships leveraging public dollars with, philanthropy. Can we get more staff presenting? Because if we do get into grant making, if we're lucky to do that, we'll need more people. So, because we're not naive in thinking that moving from what we have now to what we want to be will not be without an investment of additional staff. That designation of our organization as an LAA would be really important. And what are the steps? How many years will it take for us to get there? And then what role can we play? And do we have any power whatsoever over expanding this body with more diverse representation? Can we have some subcommittees perhaps, so that we could get more voices at the table?
Remind me again, what does SMEs mean?
Subject matter experts.
Subject matter experts.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Expert.
That's
Some-
okay.
Some commissions have the ability to appoint their own commissioners in addition to what the supervisor.
A full commission.
So,
Wow.
yeah, we could vote and add our own, so we could make our panel either more reflect what the county is, or choose a couple positions that would always represent more people. Could be positions that, cover a big part of the county all the time, so that if the commissioners didn't pick them, they would always be there or something. So something like that.
Like a tribal community.
Yeah, or something like that. There would always be somebody from the tribe.
Mhm.
Could always be somebody from SD-RAC
Mhm.
or something like that, because they
Yeah.
represent the whole county regardless of, and that would open up somebody else for that district supervisor to choose.
Yeah, that could be it too.
Yes, designees kind of thing.
So going back,
We have a question here?
Well, no, it was an appreciation.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
oh, thank you.
I thought we had questions.
If we go back up to the top, what we're looking from you, do these, strategies underneath these big goals make sense? Should we have included something else? Does something here not make sense that we need to take out? Obviously, this is our first kind of swipe at generating a work plan. But we go from this to something with a real timeline and, real generative approach to getting work done.
And some more specifics.
And some more
So
specific.
if down the line, something pops into your Marine Corps would call it brain housing group,
Brain housing. group,
you
okay.
we could slide it under one of these pillars.
Yeah,
And if it doesn't fit and we think it's really important, then we just add another pillar.
yeah, but we try not to do that.
But we're trying not to do that. Hopefully they will fit under one of these pillars and under one of those categories, so that we can put that in our timeline.
So what's missing?
Is this list included in the email, or just so how could we potentially access it outside of just?
It was in the December 13th board meeting email. That meeting we weren't able to hold because we didn't have quorum.
Thank you.
But we could maybe resend it out.
Yeah, I can send it out again.
Jennifer?
So what I'm appreciating about this process is both the equity statement on all three, equity statement, strategic plan, and now the goals. They're all taking the approach that this is a long distance journey. It's pebble in the pond, and we hang in there. We're in it for the long run. I had an example of this. KPBS recently had featured Encinitas as an arts community. I don't know whether anybody heard that or not. And it was fantastic. It was vibrant, it was full, it was all of that within 3.5 minutes. But it reminded me that we have somebody here, Jim, who a lot of the things they spoke to, knowing his work in Encinitas, right back to him.
He did that.
And I think that's inspiring for all of us to know that we are the seed pod. And we're gonna sprout it, and then it's gonna grow past us. And I think having sat through these sessions ad infinitum, I want to say this is the most, not only the most efficient, which is important, but really the most inspiring and complete project, process and conversation in a short period of time that I've been involved in. So my hats are off to the strategic plan committee and to the collective mind in here that allows things to flow, right? Don't be more like water, not like rock right now, because we're going for the big. So I just wanted to appreciate.
Thank you.
That is
Thank
so
you,
kind.
thank you so much.
It's so
Jennifer.
kind, and because you start where you are, and you can't overreach. That's one of the challenges that we have. We are where we are, and it wouldn't make sense if you're building a 12 to 18 month plan to put too bold of a goal.
Right.
I mean, goals up here and overreaching with strategies that we don't have the money for, manpower, person power to do.
Right.
So we put practical things in there. You know, we can go to some meetings, we can have this networking, but what can't we do? We can't do a lot of things that take a lot of money and our time. I mean, the fact that we can gallop into these meetings is a lot.
It's gonna be big, yeah.
It's a lot for us.
Yeah.
This is also creating accountability for us,
Yeah.
which means that at the end of this 2 to 3 year process, we have to have been able to say, completed, ongoing, completed.
Yeah, check.
Yeah, and otherwise, it'll be such a demerit for us. So, and the idea is, just like Patricia said, the Arts and Economic Prosperity Report #6, which is a nationwide project. This county participated in this in its most robust this time. And so there's so many participants and so many cities that participated, but they're bringing in the head honcho from the Americans for the Arts into the county to do their launch. Well, that's what we're hoping. It's something along those similar lines for our strategic plan. We want to say, hey, this is our first convening. We're inviting all of our arts partners in. Come, let's get together. Here's our strategic plan.
And
But
bless it.
yes, but then also in 2 years, they're going to be expecting us to have completed it. So we're suddenly very accountable to what we put here.
What this will allow us to do, and I mentioned before, is create a timeline, but it will also allow us to assign responsibility. So we can look at these and say, look, we're gonna need a subcommittee to do this, a subcommittee to
You
do
do
that.
this, yeah.
So that this is who's gonna do this, and we'll have, that's when we start asking for volunteers, you know, to handle these things. So that we can actually, you know, scratch those off every, you know, month that we got these things done, but it's the best way to get things done, so we're not just treading water here.
And in the same vein, if we don't think some of these are attainable in 2 to 3 years, we should not do them.
We should take it.
We should take them off
We
the
should take
list.
them off the
Right.
list.
Or reframe them in some.
Unless it's a learning curve and we realize through the process that it morphed and changed.
That said, Shane, do you think it is within staff's capacity to take this and transform it into a time-based work plan? That would mean to lay it into a grid and for each of the bullets to see what it would take to achieve over 12 months. So, for example, joint meetings with city arts commissions. We have like, I think there's 6 or 7 of them at least.
At least, yeah.
There are some that are just public art.
Yeah, you would have to
Vista.
think about, well, how many are there? And how many meetings do they have? And how often do they meet? You have to think through each one of those and come up with some kind of logistical plan for us to have joint meetings. I don't know if that is something we as a body can do, but if you think that's what we should do, we would have to divide and conquer this to come up with that time-based work plan.
Yes.
Yes, what?
I was gonna say, it is possible. My question is by when?
Well,
I won't be able to do it like by the end of this week
Oh,
per se. So I just want to make,
well,
I don't want to commit
tomorrow.
myself to something.
And I'm from where we are now with this plan, because the public doesn't need to know this part of the sausage.
No, no.
They don't need to know how it's gonna happen. We could go public with a plan that ends with this.
Yes.
Exactly.
For the most part.
Yes.
And they will say, that's great, go do it. They don't need to know the interior. But this is the work that's left for us to do internally,
Yes.
is to map out the work plan,
what I would say is some of these will need some
research.
some research, some numbers to
Some
it,
docs,
like
yeah.
how many convenings do you want
Mhm.
annually, for example, that would be your thing.
Mhm.
And then from there, I can go there, and then there's some clarifications, we need, like, if you want a joint meeting with the city arts commission,
All of them,
do
yeah.
you, all of them at once?
Yeah.
Or one of them at a time, that's a different thing, and then, because that also goes into, we meet everyone, each of us have designated times we meet, so we would be calling a special meeting, that would be separate
Each of
from
these
what we
bullets has
legally
its
have said,
own
yeah.
little
Yeah,
trajectory.
so there are some of those things, and it'll take time for me to work with their, whoever their staff liaison or, arts administrator is as well.
Mhm.
So some of that could be more towards the end of this calendar year, beginning of next year, so some of those things, like some of them, as you guys are talking, some of it I'm already working on, we're in process of getting you guys name tags right now.
See, there you go.
And,
Check.
and I don't mean like the paper ones, like
Mhm.
actual name tags,
Do
so
we
you guys
have
are
by the-
committed now,
do we
we're
have
getting
by
you
the
nice name tags.
25th?
Yes.
Yes, we're all going to AEP.
Yeah. I'll try, I
See what
think
it's
it
possible.
depends on what Office Depot says, but we're gonna see, and then, so some of it we're working on, so some of the marketing things, I've been talking communications about in
Mhm.
preparation for April, like if we have an April event.
Yeah.
We're
Let's
building a
just
whole
say
story.
When our April event.
Yes, when,
happens.
exactly,
You know, that's also the 1 year anniversary of our first
Yes.
meeting.
We know, yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm just saying, you know, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, but that's why we chose it. because-
Okay.
yeah.
But that's that. So going back to next steps, we want to have our unveiling of our strategic plan in April, and so we deem the next step is taking what we've done and transferring it into some type of shareable digital document,
Something pretty.
something pretty. What do you need from us as a body to make that step?
I think maybe more of the subcommittee than the body, in that a lot of these, it's more of notes I took, and there's a lot of slash, so condensing those titles, making some of
need
these more
editing?
goal statements, yeah, so just basic editing, which can be done in between or at the next subcommittee meeting. And then after that, the other thing will be, I wasn't sure if this is something you wanted to discuss at this meeting or a subcommittee meeting, the input engagement piece.
Yeah.
On the strategic plan,
Yeah.
which I can either discuss now at a subcommittee meeting, we have a couple options for
Yeah.
that.
Why don't we discuss that at this next
Yes.
subcommittee meeting? Because the next time we come back
Yes.
here, it is,
February,
we're gonna vote.
Yes.
yes, that would be the plan, yeah.
Vote
Could you send the subcommittee a document that has
everything,
all the things we put together?
Yeah.
You know, so
Yes.
kind of
Every-
all combined.
Yes,
everything.
I need more time to look this
Mhm.
over. And but not a whole lot more time. I was wondering if you could send us all a copy of this
Mhm.
digitally by email. And also, I really strongly agree with you, Jim. Nothing should be on there that we don't think can actually be accomplished in 18 months. And so I would be looking at it more with the eye of things I think need to be taken off. Then you guys decide, but I want to get that to you before your next meeting. So, you know, I could work on it in the next few days if I just have a digital copy of that. And then do I
Yeah.
send it back to you?
yes, to me,
Okay.
please.
And let's identify, is this a 3-year or 2-year document? Have we really?
I thought we were doing two.
Two?
I no longer, no
You
longer.
know,
than
is this
that.
more than 2?
Okay,
So this is
and-
gonna be stuff achieved in 24 months?
And I
Oh,
and I
well,
wanna,
okay.
another thing I want to remind everybody that just like a budget, or in most budgets, it's something that we can, it's not a piece of concrete.
Yeah.
These
Okay.
are goals, that we're trying to achieve. And what we can do, it's a timeline. So as we start to approach something, if it's digital, we start to approach something, as we get to it, we learn
Mhm.
that this process it can't be done in 6 months. We take that one and we move it on the timeline to here.
Mhm.
And we mark what we've done on it
Mhm.
and say this will be accomplished in June of 2026,
Yeah,
whatever it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And we update it there, and that's what we do. That's how
Mhm.
these things work. Some of these that we think are gonna take 6 months, we're gonna get done in 3 weeks. It'll just happen,
Mhm.
because we go and look, oh, that's all we had to do, we're done.
Yeah.
We had to fill out a document, we're finished. So that's how these work. They're not, these are
Some are
goals. It's a
ongoing and
strategic
some are
goal.
one
Yeah.
and dones.
Yeah.
Right, others, we're just gonna find out we can't do, and we move them down the line, or we decide that this isn't something we can do.
But the beauty also of a strategic plan is that as ideas come to us and are brought to our commission, we've got an adopted plan, a work plan. We really can't be adding stuff. This is really what we're about for the next 2 years.
In her original presentation, it was about avoiding creep, where we don't start taking on other things, unless our bosses tell us we have to.
Yes.
That we may have a choice, but, exactly.
Fair service, right?
We do have a limited amount of time if we want to unveil this in April. And if we want to have a little bit of time to do some community engagement with it. Because if your adoption of it, yes, this is it, comes after community engagement, that means we need a draft document that's almost there. That you do one tiny little, hey, Mr. So-and-so, we're almost done with this, take a look. And it's almost like a courtesy look. It's really not for them to say much of anything. It's a courtesy look to make sure that these very important people feel that I already knew. I saw it first. And I blessed it first so that there's no surprises with some important people. I don't know exactly who they are yet. But we want to get those people to see this draft as soon as possible. So subcommittee, we need to kind of figure out the timing of that, which needs to be sooner or later. I think once we get it all compiled into some document, we have a few meetings, a few copies, and we're pretty much done. Okay. So back to committee, right? Back to committee. It is.
Thank you. Next up on our discussion items, election of officers. Is there any public comment?
Double check, but no,
No public comment?
no, I'm not
Okay.
seeing.
So, I'm currently chair. I'm happy doing this job. Anybody want to nominate me? I don't know how to do this, but,
You can self-nominate.
okay, I'll nominate myself.
You can self-nominate, and then we can just see if anybody else would also like the position, and then,
Let's do that.
not necessary, but if there are multiples, then you can make comments, and then it would just come to a vote. Is that accurate, David?
That way, yeah.
There's a couple of ways. to do it.
I just wanted to open up by saying that, now that you've all been here for a while, if there's, you know what your time commitments are for this, to be part of this, and you also, have a little bit better understanding of what the job is. So if you, even if you weren't an officer before, now you want to be, this is the opportunity to get involved. So don't be afraid to step up and take on one of the positions and or acknowledge that.
We're just talking about 2 positions though, right, at this time?
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
Okay, got
I just want people. So. And I'm happy to, be chair, vice chair again.
Does anybody else want to do either of these positions?
Jim does.
Yeah.
Ma'am, no spoofing.
Did I send that to you from my brain? Are we telepathing already?
Jim wants to do it.
You know, I'm happy to jump in. My attitude is, it's really
It's working
great that
now.
it's a 1-year run, but I love to see more people involved. I love it when other people get an opportunity to have leadership. So really, if anybody, was interested, they should jump in. This isn't a lock. You know, and it's not that involved. You just read the Robert's Rules of Order and you pretty much can keep us going. So, I mean, I'm happy to jump into the mix. It's something I've done for 17 years, was running the commission at the city of Encinitas and prior. So
I'd like to nominate Ben Gilliam, the chair.
I accept.
So,
You accept the nomination?
Yes, you have to accept the nomination.
Okay, got it. Do you need a second?
No, because there's not,
The
a-
acceptance is the second anyway, and this isn't a motion, it'd be a vote.
Okay.
yeah,
And this is just for the chair position.
this is just for, we'll do the chair first, and then we'll go into the vice chair. All right. Anybody else for chair? All right, so do I start with
See, comments and then
comments?
comments and then vote.
All right, I think, so Jim, I think you made some of your comments. Did you want anything else to add? Otherwise, I'll give Renee an opportunity to comment.
Well, I feel like that my year would really begin now. Because it was a temporary chair position, which had me kind of in limbo. Until the Board of Supervisors agreed with our policy, passed our policy statement. And that wasn't very many months ago, and then we went into the holidays, and I too have considerable experience chairing organizational meetings, both in healthcare organizations and in nonprofit organizations. Don't have any, this would be a step for me of looking at how to do consensus building with a commission, basically. But I have a lot of experience. So when I say a lot of experience, I was on the board of directors and chaired the board of directors for the Escondido Arts Partnership for about 3 years. That was not a year position. And I often talk about money. I was able in that time to turn an organization that had, when I took the reins, was actually a tiny bit in the red, and it was looking like board members were gonna have to pony up. And with the, working closely with the executive director, when I left, we had a year's operating budget in the bank and succeeded in shifting our funding from being 80% government funding to being less than 10% government funding, which is a much more stable situation. I talk about the money a lot, and I bring that money thing to the table. Within healthcare, I had to work with a much harder group than this one to get consensus. And I am a consensus builder. I don't want people to walk away from the table feeling like we did a bad job or that some part of our job wasn't what it should be. I want everybody in this room and the ones who aren't here today to walk away from the table feeling like we did good work. I also am really experienced and active in making sure that everybody speaks. Like they have to turn down the opportunity to speak. So I will be paying attention to, has everybody actually weighed in on something? And that's really part of the healthcare chairing that I did. Because you don't want somebody having something in their brain, but they're a little shy or they need to be called upon. So that's kind of how I run the meetings. The rest is really what Jim said. It's knowing Robert's Rules of Order to some degree, and we have staff people who help us. I probably, just so you know, have not been super involved in the formation of the agenda. I would see it as my role to be more involved and to probably ask you all one at a time, is there anything you want on the agenda? Okay, I would like reach out to you. Same thing as making sure I ask you, do you want to speak, or what are your thoughts on this? And since I can't send the email out to everybody at once, I'd have to do it one at a time, right?
Yes.
And that's how I do it. So I'd like a year. And then that's enough.
All right, Dave, different to you. Do we go one by one or do I just say name and hands raised?
Well, there's no secret votes. Sorry, there is no such thing as a secret vote on this. So everybody's got to be.
Wait, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
because I nominated Jim, can I speak to what I did?
Yeah, would you?
Can I?
Yeah. Well,
Is
I'm
that
chair,
appropriate?
wait a minute, I'm chair of this meeting.
Yes.
No, I'm asking the
Yeah,
lawyer,
yeah.
because I was the one who did it.
Yeah,
He didn't nominate himself.
No, this is a time for, yeah, we haven't called the vote yet. It's
Yeah.
anybody who wants to speak can speak.
Oh. So, I've known Jim for more years than I can remember. And, I met Jim when both of us were working in the local arts agency world, Jim up in Encinitas and I was at the city. And then I moved to philanthropy at the Federal Foundation, but he continued on and we remained colleagues. And, I was very, very impressed with how Jim took a fledgling local arts agency at Encinitas and turned it into something very special and very enduring. The local art agency world is a specialty world that most people don't understand. It's government and it's a combination of philanthropy and it's also arts and culture. And it's one that many of us learned on the job because when we got into the field, there was no training for it. Now you can actually go to school for arts administration, but back in those days, we did not, we learned on the job. Jim built the Encinitas Arts Commission around public art, but he also built it with a contentious mayor and city council and a community that really didn't understand what art and culture could do for a very upscale and very beautiful community. He is a pragmatist, he is a great communicator, and he was able to work not only at the local level, but he also learned how arts and culture worked at the state and national level. So I think as we journey into this work, as becoming, coming back into a county agency, his face is already known. He is a colleague who's already respected in this field. And it's almost like he never left. And I just so think that this is the right time for you to lead us forward. And that's why I made you, I said your name because I knew you wouldn't be very humble. You wouldn't do it. But either way, I'm glad you're here. Either way, it doesn't really matter, but I'm glad you're here and I'm so glad we get a chance to work together again. We practically never stop working together.
Thank you very much.
I don't make you cry.
Anybody else, any other comments? All right, what we're gonna do is just to make sure I don't miss anybody and do the votes properly. I'm just gonna go around the room. And then you can just let me know who you voted for. I'll start with Monica.
Okay.
If you need more time, I can skip and
No.
you skip and think, okay, Renee.
Actually, I vote for Jim.
Okay.
The piece about him being well-known, that's important at this phase of our commission. That's really important. I am not well-known, so I vote, well, shouldn't keep going. I vote for Jim.
All right,
I vote for Jim.
all right, Jim. Okay,
Jim.
okay, Jim, okay.
Can I abstain?
You can't abstain. Felicia.
I vote for Jim.
And
Yeah, I want to thank Renee for, bringing us here to the point, but I vote for you.
Okay,
okay.
Thank you.
so, yeah,
All
thank
right,
you
this-
for your thoughtful
No,
comments.
Absolutely.
Renee,
Renee.
Renee, thank you.
Not much.
No,
Terrific.
Yes.
Very great.
It was great working with you this year.
Thank you.
And we'll continue to work with you.
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
As we go into, I'm gonna still run for vice chair, and I'll speak briefly in case, I represent 81 organizations in the county. I also represent organizations in Baja California. As part of the Museum Council, I'm also the president of SGRAC, which represents a lot of different organizations. I also bring in, I have a long history here with the LGBT community here in San Diego, and also the veterans community. So, and I've lived here since 1984. So I've been here a very long time. I hope I bring a lot to the commission. And I really think I'm here for the right reasons. Because that's to make us a long organization, so it never goes away again. And I'm here to fight for that. And I've really enjoyed working with all of you, and I hope I can be here to both help and to listen and learn from all of you. And that's what I'm here to do, so.
I'd like to nominate you.
I'd be glad.
All right then, there we go.
All right.
Anybody else would like to do it? Right then.
All right. I think it's just a call to vote all of those. Do you need to?
Yeah, you
Oh,
do.
Yeah, you still need to vote. so,
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? All right, thank you.
So as the outgoing chair, congratulations.
All right, who's supposed to continue the rest of the meeting, David?
Well, there was no decision about when it takes effect, so,
Either one.
yeah, I don't think it's a big deal.
Who's, am I chairing this meeting to the
Yeah.
end or is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a couple more agenda items that I think are kind of important.
Yeah.
Is everyone okay with us adding 15 minutes to our meeting?
So today,
Yeah.
Not good?
yeah, I wish we'd have made that announcement at the beginning of the
Didn't
meeting,
know.
because I've got a ride coming.
Okay,
So, I mean, I'll have
what do we need?
to tell that person.
Well, because the appointments to advisory committees regarding.
I recommend skipping to that first, since one of the,
Yeah.
one of the items is District 4, and we'll do that.
Exactly.
We'll
That's
do
what-
that item
That's what I
first.
wanted to go to. Could
Okay.
we take
Yeah.
maybe 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine.
And then we can go through the rest of the agenda if needed. All right. Just want to make sure there's no public comment. Seeing none. We have 2 more buildings being constructed right now. The one is in District 4, which is the Casa de Oro Library. They're not gonna start quite yet for a couple more months, but I did want to make sure that in advance of that, we had somebody appointed. So traditionally, we've been appointing people, and it's still the commission's decision. Whoever's appointees from that district will probably be the one if they have the time to serve. So at this point, that would be you two. So I'm not sure if either one of,
We haven't been reappointed yet,
legally, you are still there.
until we're not.
And as far as I know, unless something changes, you most likely will see. And then if that's so, we can come back to the commission and reappoint somebody else, because this won't be for a couple more months. But
And I can speak to this library. I've actually met with the Friends of the Library and took them on a tour of the Incidents Library. And have met with them extensively about their ideas and how to create, something really special in this library. So I feel very strong that they're gonna be a wonderful partner with the county to do some really interesting public art projects. So I think that would be a really interesting committee to serve on.
It's up to you. I know you have a lot of free time. No, I'm happy to, but it's up to you.
Is it now?
it's gonna be a couple more months. I don't have a time
Couple
yet.
more months?
Yeah, I don't have a
It's not
time
like-
yet, so it probably won't
like
be until
March.
end of year, yeah,
Okay,
more towards the end of the year.
yeah. I would love to take it.
Okay.
As long as it's not like in the next 2 months.
No, it's
Okay.
not, no, it's
I can
not.
do it
It's
then.
gonna be probably 6 months or more,
I would love to get past the strategic plan.
yes.
Okay, okay. Mhm.
Okay, so I nominate Felicia to serve on the committee.
I second.
All right, Any, just a vote?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then the other one is the animal shelter. This will be starting probably April, May.
Cool.
District 2, but I know that both District 2 representatives are each already on a committee. If they want to serve on another committee, they can, or the commission can decide to appoint somebody else to give them the opportunity to be part of that.
So I want to speak to that. I have learned so much about the process of the public art selection as it applies to work the county, the particular county project that I'm on. I think it is an unbelievable opportunity for somebody not from District 2, and I was kind of thinking, unless you're dying to do it, I was thinking, because I talked to the Steve from the PMA to see, well, what's coming down the pike, and it looks like there's not going to be anything coming down the pike for District 3. So this would be a great opportunity from somebody from District 3 to be, unfortunately, neither of them are here.
Oh,
So that, they're not here today, so that kind of out the door.
You mean just giving them a chance to do something?
Yes,
Oh.
because what you learn about, we're talking about equity, and I'm gonna tell you right now, the process tries to be super equity, the project I'm on, they're trying, but they really want input from this commission to make it really, really happen. And the process isn't, it's not.
There's room for improvement.
Thank you very much, thank you. There is, in terms of equity, there's room for improvement, and that doesn't mean anybody's doing a bad job. It means they've been doing what they could do with what they had, and now they have us.
Yes.
And they really, really, and we need to know what is, it's called current state analysis in my world, what has been historically happening. So everybody who can have a chance to do that, my project as it happens, I don't want to sit on the animal shelter because I'm having the experience and it's going on for a while longer.
Yes.
What about yours?
So
Shirley?
I joined the Ramona project after it had already begun. So I came in
Mhm.
kind of midway through the project. And I don't feel like I learned a whole lot because I missed the sort of
The beginning.
the beginning of the
Okay.
process. I was able to look at some of the submissions that were put in to select finalists.
Okay.
So I wouldn't mind sitting on this particular
Okay.
project if there's nobody else who is really wanting to be a part
Mhm.
of the process, because I agree, even in the limited amount of exposure that I had to the process, I definitely saw some room for us to come together and come up with, so having more people knowledgeable about that process and in that conversation,
On
I
this
think
commission, yeah.
would be
Really good.
helpful. So if there is anybody from any other district who would be interested, I'm happy to have them serve, but if there's not, plus I really like animals.
That makes it easy.
It's gonna be
Where
fun.
is the shelter?
It is on the 400 block of, oh shoot, where is it? 400 block of Riverview Parkway. In Santee.
I mean, I appreciate what you're saying, but I also think, you are a rep from the district.
Exactly. If Charlene is saying she doesn't feel like she got the experience, the point of what I'm saying is, I think it's really, really good for people to get that experience all the way through.
Charlene.
Yes.
I second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Okay, and then real fast before Bob leaves, can we schedule the strategic planning meeting.
what?
We can go through some of the other agenda items, but I do want to make sure we have the strategic planning subcommittee meeting plan while he's here. And I wasn't sure if,
So the second half of January? is that-
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I wasn't sure, Michael,
What
if
day
you
do
were
you
still
usually
gonna.
go on?
It
Uh,
depends on what day it is.
Could we do the last week?
This is for a subcommittee meeting?
yeah, so you don't have to pay attention to this part. Is there a day that would work for you, Michael, if you stay on?
Let me pull up my school's bus schedule real quick.
Alright.
My availability is better on the 24th, but I understand that there are other people to schedule. in.
I'm fully open on the 24th.
And then
We're talking 1 o'clock again?
is 1 o'clock?
Yeah, that works for
I can
me.
do that.
Okay for you?
All right.
Okay,
And
Okay.
which building? Or do we know yet?
and it's easier for you here, right, Michael?
It is, but.
Yeah, then here it is.
Thank you.
Then here it is.
I just found out that if I'm taking public transit, I do not need a parent to pick me up from my school, so that makes it incredibly convenient if it's here.
Okay. So let me write this down, 24 at 1, yeah, and I'll put you guys calendar placeholders and such too.
You can just send out those. Thanks for everything. And thanks, everybody. I'm gonna head out.
I didn't know if you guys still wanted to go through the rest of the agenda or not, I'm fine either way.
He has to go and we don't have a forum with him.
We do have,
Oh, we do?
yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry. I did my count again.
Don't volunteer me for any committee.
You get volunteered first if you leave early.
Museum month's coming up.
All right,
Um,
so that was the subcommittee creation. I don't think we need to appoint Michael again, correct? To the
No,
subcommittee,
that-
because he
that-
just stays.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're fine there. Unless you, as a commission, tell me we need to create another subcommittee at this point. I'm done with this item. Okay. We did the appointments advisory. All right, so I'm on the staff report. I'll just see if there's no public comments. So I did want to give you a quick update. I mentioned briefly over email that we are down a youth commissioner, so the process for that has already started. A basic timeline for you guys. Anytime we market for these positions, I prefer to keep them at least 2 weeks. We're doing 3 weeks open right now. And then after that, after we go through the applications, will be interviews. So it'll probably be another like month and a half, maybe 2 months, because they will have to be appointed through a board meeting as well. So we're looking through availability there. Yeah.
I know I'm going to be going off to college by the end of the summer, so I will leave another youth position open.
We're aware
Is-
of that. So
okay.
as we're doing the interviews, we'll be keeping that in mind.
Got
Yes. And so you guys have all the information, I think. What I'll do after this meeting is do a draft template email. You guys can copy and paste or personalize it however you want. Our kind of communications has it on social. I've reached out to all of the community colleges, universities, and high school districts as well. So they'll be publicizing through their ways, as well as Creative Youth Development Network and our Live Well Youth Sector. And our Office of Equity and Racial Justice will also be promoting through their newsletter as well. And you saw through our own listservs. So feel free to promote through your own networks. If there's somebody I'm missing, let me know. We are just recruiting and accepting applications. Technically, we're for a while until the position is filled, but February 2nd is when we're really going to start looking at the applications, setting up meetings. And our youth commissioners were so kind to do, we're also going to have a information session where if anybody wants to come and ask them questions and their experiences personally, that will be there. I forgot when I scheduled it for, I think the 26th.
26th from 4 to 4:30.
Yeah, 4 to 4:30, which will also be recorded for anybody who misses it.
thank you guys for doing that.
Yeah. So I'll keep you updated as it goes on, but do know that it'll probably be mid to end of February before you get another update. And then waiting for a Board of Supervisors meeting.
How are they selected again? Who actually?
It's appointed through the chief administrative officer, so it's assigned to staff to
So
handle.
they go through them all and choose one.
Yeah, so, I asked staff, it gets delegated to me to handle basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we try to do a panel that's a diverse, panel to go through the interviews with us and give us different perspectives. So that's what the youth commissioners, I told you there are name tags happening and going
Oh,
on
wow.
there. Yeah,
Great.
yeah, so we're working on that, getting that done, and now I have a timeline of trying to get it to you guys before Thursday, so I'll probably show up Thursday.
cool.
I'm hoping to show up Thursday with, name tags
Mhm.
available for you. I feel like I had something else, but I think those are the two major things that are happening and going on, so.
Just a show of hands, I don't know if this is the right time. How many do we think will should be at AEP 6?
Oh,
I want
I
to
have
come.
to.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
6. Okay,
Mhm.
good, good.
I
You want to
really-
come with, we can card with Jennifer.
Did you
Gonna
say
have
you're
to-
doing
I'll
something?
work on my calendar.
I'm gonna try.
You want a carpool?
Okay, that's good. It's gonna be really exciting. The good thing about it, I don't, let me start. We're done.
Yeah, that's it for my staff report, so.
So, so our meeting is over, right?
I believe so,
Now,
unless
can I
anybody
ask
else
a
have any.
question, or is it a violation of the Brown Act?
As long as we're not like discussing, as long as we're not reaching decisions.
If
Should I end the meeting
is
then?
it-
Let me
Yeah,
end
in
it.
the meeting.
Okay.